Deep breath.
Big stretch.
So, welcome to Shapes of Resilience. We've made the podcast happen. This has been on the cards for a while now. Joined today by Charlie Ginley. Charlie is a local lad from Torbay, and he is someone that I connected with organically through social media right back at the start, actually, of when I launched the podcast. You're in those early stages where I was probably looking a little bit for external validation, if I'm honest. And you kindly messaged me with some words of praise around the podcast and the message, which helped at the time because it's what I needed myself, just to give me that little bit of gratification that I'm doing the right thing and it's worthwhile my effort. So thank you for that, first and foremost. And then thanks for joining me today. Charlie is the founder of Elite Mind Club, which is all about combining what's going on inside our mind with fitness and nutrition and looking after ourselves to be good members of society. Charlie works as a trainer, diverse fitness in Torquay, St Mary Church, which I myself have witnessed how strong that community is when Charlie and some of the other trainers organised an event in collaboration with my sauna, Apathea sauna down at Shellstone Beach, which we'll talk about. So yeah, let's get started.
Cool. Love it. Thank you so much for inviting me on, mate.
Yeah.
No, it's a big moment for us because when I sent that message about 18 months ago, maybe close to 2 years. Yeah. I just saw what you were doing and I didn't realize how local you were. And
really,
and the messages that you were delivering, I thought he's on my wavelength. And I just wanted to say, for one, well done. And also thank you, because I felt sometimes you feel alone in this industry when you think, well, I want to help. Am I the only one that thinks like that? And then boom, there you were.
And then it goes from there, because what happens is, I call it the ripple effect, because everything I've done has led me to another connection where I didn't see it before I was brave enough to say what I actually think.
Mm.
Everything is the other side. If you don't take that action that you're sat on thinking, shall I do that video talking about something I believe in? Or what will people think? What if no one agrees? Well, actually, what happens is the people that need to see that message themselves, or they agree or resonate, it's that ripple effect, because then you're in their awareness and then you build a connection with them and you might collaborate or come on a podcast.
Yeah. And I think it's that thing where we talk to ourselves every day, every second of every day. And you think, well, if someone could hear what I was thinking, what would they think? And I think that's what we do with our content sometimes. You think, well, I'm saying these things out loud because this is what I believe in. And then when you deliver that message, you go, well, I really, really hope that someone thinks the same. And that's essentially what I did for you. I went, we think the same there. And I think that's why we try and deliver that message to people, because we probably feel like there's a position for us to say there's a space there locally, especially, where we see the same mindsets, we see the same limiting beliefs in people, and we think, actually, if I can deliver what I truly believe in, which is that we can all change, please listen.
Where does that come from then? Where does that come from?
What, my belief?
Yeah, the desire to try and help people to make those realizations.
Well, shout out to Mum. Naturally, I think my mum's got that in her, which is, I think it's been given on to me. However, belief, yeah. And we'll get onto a bigger, deeper meaning behind that with me. I believe that comes from my biggest inspirations growing up on a personal level, not on telly. There is telly because I'm a massive football fan, a massive Liverpool Football Club fan. So all my family
concludes this podcast.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Please. Yeah, please. Yeah, you're United. Who are you again?
Man United,
yeah. Shall we cut that?
To be honest, and it's a weird thing, just to interrupt you rudely.
Yeah.
I don't actually really care about the football anymore.
Oh,
it's weird.
It's gone.
I've got so many. It's the gone. Capacity for me gone. With everything that I care about in life.
Yeah, it's gone.
And I'm like seeing things from this other viewpoint.
More important.
I still care about football.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's a good day out.
It doesn't bother me like it used to.
I completely agree. It's a good day out.
Yeah.
But when you're younger and that's all you know. So I'll go back to belief. So my biggest role models on a personal level, male and female, were all coaches. They were family friends. They were my friends' parents. We played football at local level, and the male coaches and the parents, if I think back, this incredible unit and unity of people that I'd imagine 99. I'm not a father yet. I want to one day. Most people probably look at their kids and go, I'm going to give you belief. When I look back and I compare and contrast to others, I think, I cannot believe this level of support and belief we've got from adults. I couldn't believe it when I look back. So you've got people of authority, even at local level, who are coaches going, no matter what you do, go for it. We'll back you, support you. And this is how silly it is, but when you're a kid and he goes, if you want to play that pass, and you think, well, a pass in football. But what it's teaching you is that as you get older, attempt it. We back you no matter what the result is. We back you no matter the result. So you're going, well, okay. And then what happens when you lose a game? Right. Well, there's obviously learnings to take. And then you take that into school. Then you take that, and then your most important people at school, your teachers. There's that one teacher you look back and you go, thank you for the support and the belief. And I think for me, growing up, that's all I had. All I had from my most valuable people was, you can strive to be the best, no matter what the result is. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. As I moved through the years, I had that constantly. And then I got to 18 and I moved to university, and you sort of start to see glimpses of adult life. You don't have coaches anymore. You have people who are here to guide you, but then they almost go, well, it's up to you. Whatever the result, I'm not really going to support you. And then you get through into your early 20s, and unfortunately, you start to see what adult life is like, and it knocks you down like a ton of bricks. And I think that's where my life flickered, and I viewed people so differently. And I'm sure we'll get onto that.
So do you look for role models now? Is that something, going back to how much value you took as a child from people that helped you and guided you and looked at you and believed in you? Is that something you now still look for subconsciously?
For me, I built Elite Mind Club because I want people to be surrounded by people that aren't afraid to be who they are, but on a level which is like, I'm going to be who I feel, but I don't know that yet. But who I surround myself with is extremely important. So I will only be around people now that I know are that level of support that I need. If I'm around humans that don't offer me that, a really good mentor to me is a man called Chris Larson. So shout out to Chris. He's in the northwest of England, and he's a mindset mentor and a coach. He says I used to give too much respect and energy to rooms and people that weren't offering me, Charlie Ginley, who I need to be.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I feel the same when I look at people online, for example, and maybe initially the feeling is I respect that person, or I admire them, or I want them to see me. And then you look a bit deeper, or you follow them for a bit longer, and then they say certain things or act in a way where that doesn't completely align. But what happens for me is I try and ignore that. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that because I admire them or I respect them. And then I end up missing the point of what they're actually doing. And I feel like this is where I'm trying to get better, is accepting that not everyone is going to be on that same wavelength. And if they're not, then just accept that maybe they weren't, or they're not
ready, maybe,
or they're just not who you think they are.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to, well, what am I looking for in that person that I can't actually find myself? Because we both know, and this is where we align, is none of it's out there. It's all happening within. And what we're looking to take from that person to fill a little bit of the jigsaw within me. So now my intention above anything else is to look within, look at those reasons why I might want someone online to see me and help me with what I'm doing. And some of that is because I feel like on occasions, I lack momentum and exposure and reaching new audiences. So then it still comes down to me wanting to progress with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But again, none of that's down to anyone else.
It's strange. We turn into adults quite quickly. And as we grow, I think as humans grow and as adults go through the ages and transitions in life, we don't know we're going through a transition. And I think we're holding our older values, and as we flick through into our current values that are almost dragging us to there, you know, I'm sure you've been in a room with people, you go, whoa, what am I don't belong in here anymore. What am I doing here?
You want someone to solve your problems for you, or you want someone to give you the answers. And if you're in a room and it's not the right room for you, none of those people have the answers you need.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to me growing up with that belief that every time I stepped onto a pitch, or I stepped into a schoolroom, where I was taught by my parents to be really respectful of authority.
That's good.
So, which I'm really thankful for. So it meant I listened and I really respected the words they said. So when my major role models, when I was a kid, would speak to me, I would listen. I was naturally quite a quiet kid, actually, growing up. Really quiet. Looking back, I was probably one of the quietest kids you'll find.
Same. Up until maybe year 10, year 9, year 10.
Yeah, what age is that?
13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was a little bit later. I probably didn't really start to become confident in myself. I'd say 16, 17.
If you're going to say confident, I would say 2 years ago for me.
Oh, well,
I haven't been
confidence in that. I guess in no matter, you know, in the sense of
stop trying to be something for someone else.
Yeah. So this probably goes back to why I do what I do now, and I've created this service for people because my biggest role models are all coaches or people of education. Mm-hmm. And that is my role. I want to help educate and be one of my favorite. When you sign up to Elite Mind Club, one of the first things I say is, I will be your greatest external believer. And by that is, I want to be a friend. I will be a friend. But more than you believe it, I will go heaven on earth to make sure that you are constantly believed in. Because then there will be moments when you don't believe in yourself. There will be. So how do we go through life as an adults going, oh, I might have a wife or a husband or a brother or sister or someone or a mum or dad, but they don't believe themselves. And yet how are they going to tell me to believe in myself? If I then have a moment of, oh, what's going on here? I don't believe in myself.
So my reflection to that is being someone that has been very, very uncomfortable in certain phases of the last 2 or 3 years. There have been certain people that have given me that belief in myself before I had it myself.
Right.
Invaluable. So what you're doing and that mindset is beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, mate.
Thank you.
Because when people have moments where they're struggling and they feel down and they're having that bad day and they don't believe in themselves and the negative self-talk creeps in, having you there saying, this is just a bad day.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection of who you are as a person. You'll be back on it tomorrow. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Go have your bad day and let's chat tomorrow. And then they come back and you're like, right, now we're ready. Let's go again.
I like to resolve things quickly. Why wait? You know, if you're having a bad day, you know, let's fix that.
Let's do it now.
Tomorrow
never comes.
What's your feeling on like zooming out on situations? And how do you do that? So by that I mean, take a really mundane problem. How do you zoom out quickly? Instantly.
The formula is so simple for me. I've actually created an acronym that is going to be part of my coaching model for that exact moment.
Right.
I call it baseline.
Yeah. I've heard you say
baseline doesn't have to be the same. It's not one level. We can actually increase our baseline so that we become happier at baseline in the absence of anything external to be happy about.
Right.
So that for me is like, that's the aim.
Mm.
Keep becoming happier,
Mm.
even when there's nothing going on.
Mm.
So I'm not looking for the pleasure. I'm not looking for anything else to make me happy.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at what's going on. I'm happy with this.
Yes.
The kids are happy.
Yes.
So that's baseline. When I have the dip, which is quite often, the formula is simple. It's get outside in nature, go for a walk on my own, no headphones, no phone, walk to the sea, jump in the sea, or just sit and stare at the horizon, take it all in, a few deep breaths in, but really extend in the exhale. And in those moments, I close my eyes, think of a few things I'm grateful for, dust it off, come back into life again. But sometimes it's not instant. It'll be the day after or the day after that work that I'm doing there will help me to return to baseline. So the acronym I've come up with is ASAP. So it's as soon as possible, we return to baseline. But the ASAP actually means acceptance of where we are, acceptance of the resistance, surrender to that moment. And then I imagine I close my eyes and I'm turning in a circle and I'm waiting until it feels like I'm back in alignment. Okay. So that's where the third A comes in, align. So it's acceptance, surrender, align. And then as soon as I feel like I'm back into alignment, it's pivot and just move forward. Because it's not just in one big straight line. Yeah. All these little pivots, that's where I'm finding. I don't know where they are. But when I hit it, that's when the resistance comes in. I accept it, surrender, align and move forward.
What were your biggest things going forward when you were, say, in your early 20s or mid 20s? Yeah. Where, if you look back, like what shaped this resilience? Because for you to even remotely create that, you would have had to have gone through something for that to be built. So I ask you, like, what?
Yeah, no, we can do it. We can do it. And that's why it's cool having these face-to-face podcasts, because the online ones, with people I don't know particularly, they're not interested in me at all, because it's a podcast interview of them. Yeah. But what happens is when I bring people on that I know and I've built a cool rapport with, and I'm a bit mysterious, so people can't quite work me out. They're like, there's something
I've worked you out.
Yeah, but it comes down to the day job, really. And I'm not able to go into masses of specifics around what I do because that's just the way it is at the moment. But that doesn't prevent me from being able to talk about the impact it's had on me. It's major health issues, depression, anxiety, down in the lowest of the low, in the absolute realms of darkness, dealing with the trauma that goes with that job and the natural empathy I have for humans that at some point I lost because I had to, for self-preservation, because of the nature of the work you're doing. So then my body kept the score because I wasn't delivering the empathy to the people that I'm coming into contact with, because I just couldn't do that every time because it was just breaking me.
Yeah. Could you feel deep down as you were going through all that situation that you said to yourself, I will get out of this? Or did you not?
No, I just believed I would hold bowel issues for the rest of my life.
Did you think that was what was happening? Do you feel like that was?
I thought that was endgame. I thought this is how I am now.
Do you think that defined you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't nice because I was so wrapped up in this culture as well of hiding it and surrounded by lots of guys, and we're all pushing to be this kind of characters doing a job that is highly demanding. It's stressful.
You've been an actor.
It's dangerous. And I was sucked into that's who I am. That's what I do for a living, 24/7. Yeah. I was working 100-hour month overtime every month, pulling in the money to pay for what I've got now. Don't get me wrong. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But that was my life, and the impact it had on me. Without realising that I spent 10 years in that darkness, in that cycle of poor health, constant anxiety, and it's all the mess that goes with that, and the person that you don't like at all.
That's huge. So thanks for that.
It's cool, man.
The reason I wanted to ask that was because through my experience of coaching and my experience of talking to people like this, I love even in a beautiful moment, I like to actually talk quite deeply with people, because that's sort of how I know.
Yeah, you've curveball me.
Sorry, mate.
I know you're going to do that. I can't say no, though. If someone asks me, it's people are listening to this podcast because they kind of maybe want to know a little bit more around the reasons why.
And that's why I asked it, because
I haven't answered it.
big thing that I learn with people nowadays in modern world is what they are doing, they think that defines them. Take someone who's overweight. So what, you're overweight? Someone will label them as like they could have 1,000 pros to their life, who they are, yeah? They will let the fact that they're 30 pounds overweight be them. For example, I am a fat person. I'm an overweight person. I will go, no, you're not. You are 1,000 things before you are that.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to ask you, when you said about what moment did you create that awareness? Because clearly in the back of your mind, no matter what you were going through, even that, just that, there's maybe one spark, which was in the back of your mind going, I know this isn't me because it's now created this.
So it was by accident.
Right.
It all happened by accident.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it was June 2023. And one of the lads at work said, we're going to do this charity event. And to me, I was like, it'd probably be too busy that day because there was so much going on, because I kept myself so busy. Because in my head, I'm so effective at the job I'm doing.
Right.
Couldn't possibly do anything else other than work. But I said yes. And then I couldn't go into work that day. So I ended up, this was my first real exposure to jumping in the sea, because I couldn't go into the gym at work where they were doing the challenge. So I said, in my head, I thought, I'm going to go down to Shellstone Pool and I'm going to swim 2 kilometres, which is 40 lengths, 50-metre pool. I hadn't done any swimming for maybe 15 years, but there's something that inside me that thought, no, I'm going to do it. I'm here on my own.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm going to go and crack on and get that done.
Yeah, it's good.
And I jumped in and swam the 40 lengths. And it just changed my whole life.
All right.
Yeah.
40 lengths.
And it wasn't the 40 lengths that changed my life. Yeah. It was that feeling I hadn't experienced before, where I was pushing myself to do something that at the time was very difficult. I was doing it to help with this cause around raising a bit of money for the charity that they're doing it for, which was men's mental health.
Right.
And it just felt good. And then I knew instantly. I got out and I knew, wow, that I've been missing out on whatever that feeling is in life.
It's almost like it's almost like you jumped into like a new dimension.
Just felt it. That selflessness and the rewards you had yourself of helping some other people.
That feeling. That feeling's incredible.
That's what I need. But I also knew I got a lot of work here as well, because even if it's not going to be easy, I feel like I need to try and portray this message to others that were in the same mess that I was in, to help them realise that you're not who you feel like you are. There's another way, and it all starts with just doing stuff for others. Opens all the keys.
Yeah, I love that. I am.
See, I know that this needs to happen on another podcast, because there's a lot there to unpack, and this is a podcast where we can do that. We've done that. But we're not going to hijack your podcast.
Okay.
Because else, that's the thing. When you open a door, it's like we've opened it now.
Yeah, it's open.
What else am I seeing?
Yeah.
Because
Let's see what's
I'm a bit of an
door.
open book.
Yeah. Well, we both are.
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer anything.
Why don't we go with my idea I had earlier?
Yeah, mate, go for it.
Because it's a book that I've got so much value from.
Yeah,
The Daily Stoic. 366
Great
Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday. Incredible book. Yeah, I've read all of his books on Stoicism, and they've all had massive impacts on me for different reasons.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
So this book has a different meditation for each day of the year. So I had a look earlier, and I thought that's going to be a cool reading for us to then dissect. So, at the time of the recording, it is Tuesday, May the 12th, 2026.
It is.
Page 146 of the book. Kindness is always the right response. That's the title. Kindness is invincible, but only when it's sincere, with no hypocrisy or faking. For what can even the most malicious person do if you keep showing kindness and, if given the chance, you gently point out where they went wrong, right as they were trying to harm you? Marcus Aurelius.
Kindness. What is kindness? I guess kindness is no matter what behaviors and mood you're in, you're ensuring that the interaction you're about to have with another person, they leave feeling loved and cared for, because that's really all we want, isn't it? At our deepest level is that we want to be loved and cared. So I need to be kind to you.
And where does that start, though?
Personally,
Kindness start. If I'm going to be kind, if I'm going to be kind to you,
well, you got to love yourself.
You've got to be kind to yourself.
Yeah, you got to love and be kind. Being kind to yourself. When do I feel kind to myself? It was really, I'd say 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Talk to me.
Okay. So I went into office roles when I became a sports journalist, and I came back home and I was surrounded by adults that weren't kind.
Okay.
And it completely knocked me, because if I go back to my childhood, where it was love, support, kindness, with a bit of heart and passion and a bit of
so that sets
resilience.
Your expectation of what you...
I honestly, truly, if I look back, so I'm 32, I look back and I think now, I left university thinking, if this is life, I'm gonna really smash this. This is great. I've got everything. I'm gonna have a good time. And then you're then pushed into this world where it's dog eat dog, and another male human. Most interactions in my life have been male. The second a bit of power comes in, they don't care for the human, and that completely knocked me. The greatest thing I've ever found in myself is that if you invest in me, I will give you everything back and more. If you turn around to me and say, Charlie, I'm going to back you to the hill with anything, I think you're the best, I will go, come on then, I'm going to give you more back. Yeah. But if you do the opposite, it's my kryptonite. If you do the opposite and you don't put an arm around my shoulder and you don't support me and you blame me and you don't show me kindness and caring, I am gone. Broken. And that's what happened. I was mid-20s and I was in this rat race of life, and it was 5 years of it. And looking back now, wow, really, definitely not depressed. Definitely didn't need to be diagnosed with anything. 100% didn't need that. But the character had gone. My personality had gone. Looking back, I had an eating disorder, I think. 100%. I was always a relatively fit lad. I was fit. And essentially, I got into a position where I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what life was. I didn't know what being an adult was. And I was really, really struggling to find who I was. And then locally, two young lads in I don't need to say, but locally, in the space of 2 weeks, committed suicide.
Wow.
And I sort of knew of them. They weren't my friends, but I knew who they were, and they were the same age as me. And I saw friends get knocked by that because they were closer to those people. And I already knew growing up that there was more to me than what I was doing. I just didn't know what it was.
Makes sense.
I didn't know what it was.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
I didn't know what it was. So
you feel like you haven't grown into the person or the thing that you know you're going to...
Oh, I could feel it. I could feel it. And I didn't know what it was. And I was searching. And I was sat in my car one day and I was in this rat race, 8:45 in the morning. Yeah. In a car. And I was surrounded by people that looked like they'd had enough. And I said to myself, and I was still switched on enough to say to myself, if I'm surrounded by all these people, I'm also in that lane.
Yeah.
Get me out of here, because it's only going one way, and it's a sad, sad life. And if I look back and I look at the way I treated friends, and I wouldn't say friends, I've always been amazing with my friends, actually, parents and my partner, my girlfriend, Oh wow, what was I doing? But if I look back now, it's because the environments I was in, the culture I was in, it was bringing me down to a place where I'd never ever been before, ever.
Sounds like
ever.
That takes a lot of awareness, because it's like you're in a line of people. You're looking around at everyone else in that line.
All the same.
How negative all these people.
Yeah.
Oh, these people aren't acting the way that I like. And then all of a sudden you've held a mirror up and realised
I literally looked at myself. I literally looked in my mirror and I saw my eyes. I went, "Hey, Charlie, where's he gone?"
But it's impossible to not also become the same as the rest of the people in that line if you stay in that line.
And I was walking into these houses and everyone was eating bad and they were negative, and I just wasn't used to that.
Because they're operating in a system that doesn't allow you to act in the way that we both know, the way we want to be as people.
Yeah.
You need to have that freedom of expression.
And when you're literally bred to be your number one supporter, and you had externals believing in you, and you had your biggest role models believing in you, the second you find you're sat in a room where everyone's just going, "I don't care about you," you go, "Whoa, I don't like this," and I'm really, really glad that happened. I'm really glad it happened.
Yeah.
I'm really happy I had to go through 5-6 years of, I mean, listen, it was 50-50, as in it wasn't all bad. I made some great friends along the way. You know, if any of them listening, I loved you. You're good friends. We had a right laugh. You know, I'm sure we did. But when I went home, that wasn't good.
That's quite an interesting topic as well, because it's something I feel myself, where you do want to be careful with the way you talk about different experiences or moments or teams or jobs or groups of people that you've been surrounded with, because it's not about those people. It's not about the experiences you have. It's about how you grow as a person yourself, how those situations are serving you, and how sometimes it's just about what you need to do next, as opposed to the connections not being what everyone thought they were. It's just what they're not going to be able to do for me now moving forward. And it's a difficult conversation to have, because you don't want to offend people, which again comes down to probably our traits again, that we don't want. We couldn't possibly live with the fact of someone being unhappy with us.
Yeah. And in my head, I can see 5 faces, and if they were in this room now, I would kindly tell them what the man they made. Seriously, I'll do. But it all goes back to why I do what I do now, because if I wasn't my number one believer in myself, 99 out of 100 people don't build the life that they want to become, and that's what I want to do for people. I want to give them a space where they have another human that isn't, that isn't family or friend, who will guide and educate and mentor and go, right, where are we going? Or where are we? Well, we're here. What do we used to be? Where can we go? Well, let's go. Get your favourite shoes on, we're going. Yeah. Get your best running trainers on, we're off. Going back to being that kind. Why is it? You ask yourself, why is it someone isn't kind to another human? What is it? Why would you not be kind to anyone? What is it?
So and I think about this a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to wanting something in return for what you're giving, and I feel it's so important for me to not have any expectation from anyone else, because it all comes down to timing and where you are in your life and how you feel and how regulated you are. It's got no reflection on anyone else. And it might be actually that by being kind to everyone, the impact of that might not be instant. It might be that later on that day or that week, the other person that you've had that kind interaction with might just have that little light bulb moment where they think, oh, wow, actually, that was really kind what Olly did there.
Yeah.
Or what Charlie did there.
Yeah.
I wish I was a bit more like that. Or why am I not?
Why aren't I?
Why am I
Why
not
can't I be
as
that? That's the
people?
question.
And then sometimes it is a case of faking it till you make it in some respects, where in some of the stuff I've done, some of it has started with me wanting to become that person. So to become that person, you have to act like that person, which sometimes becomes a little bit unnatural. For example, like being kind and not reacting to certain situations when your ego and this knee-jerk reaction is, I want to say something there.
Yeah.
But you reserve it and you hold it back. But then what happens is you then experience how it feels, which then in turn means you get the reward from that yourself, which then means you're becoming that person, and then it just becomes part of who you are.
We clearly want evidence in something that something's going right.
Something's worth your return.
What's given me that thing back? How do you become confident in something? Well, you need to build proof and evidence that you're going to get to that point.
I'll tell you where I am at the moment as well.
Go on.
So I am in a place where I have enough evidence that I don't need evidence. I just do it. If it feels right, I just do it because I know I don't need the evidence.
That just shows you're really close. It shows you that you're there.
Yeah.
You are there.
It just feels incredible.
Yeah, but you're there.
Yeah.
If you don't need any more evidence, you're there. You've made it.
Just do it. But then things happen, for example, and I'll give a nice little example because I feel like when you are genuinely selfless, you do a selfless act.
Yeah.
And the person you've done it for doesn't even know or
acknowledge it.
They just don't know.
Right.
For example, giving a meal deal to someone sat outside a shop in a city because you're with your daughters and you want to show a good example to them. You don't realise how much impact you're having. And this is something I do know.
Yeah.
When it feels right to do. And when we were up in Birmingham a few months ago watching a concert as a family, I did exactly that.
Yeah.
Just on the way back to the car park.
Cool.
Meal deal, go outside a shop.
Yeah.
Don't want to go into any more, labour that because I love doing it without shouting about it. Or,
of course.
Get the phone out, let's record this.
But what you were doing is you were showing proof.
Showing my daughters how I feel we should act in society when it feels right. You don't realise how much impact you have. So anyway, my daughter is she's just doing her GCSEs and she was asked to write a piece of work for her English exam, and she writes a piece of work about homelessness.
Wow.
And she reads it to me the other night. The day before she's going in to read it. And she includes people in cities. How is it fair that people on the streets aren't looked after?
Right.
And that so much money's ploughed into football, like we were talking about earlier. Yet we're not able. My eyes are going. I said to her, I'm going to read that on a podcast at some point. I can't do it yet because she hasn't submitted it. But that for me is, I had no evidence that giving that meal deal to that bloke was the right thing to do or worth me spending my money on. If we wait until we've got all the money in the world to be generous, we will never be generous.
What you're doing is you're building and you're creating personalities and character with the smallest of giving. So by that I mean, so your daughter has essentially produced a bit of work because she looks at you clearly as a hero and a role model. Yeah. So if your daughter's looking at you as a hero and a role model, she's basically looking at you going, everything that daddy does is right. Everything that daddy does is the way that I need to live. Yeah. So she's essentially taken what you've done, experienced it, seen and gone, well, my daddy's the greatest. My daddy's the greatest. He does that. I'll do that. Guess what happens? She'll then teach her kids.
That's all I want.
And then, but this is the beauty of once you find peace with who you need to be and being kind and being considerate and compassionate and looking through the lens of someone else and saying, put yourself in their shoes and go, what do they need? And that is what a mentor and a coach can do. They sit there and they can be in a position for you to go, how are you going to take this shell of a man, right, or a woman? If you're not going to be kind to you, we are now going to have to shift this feeling of desperation. That person
what a question
is desperate.
that is, by the way, to say, how would it feel for you to be your child's hero. Moments like
Oh,
that.
I think about the time.
Yeah, because moments like that give me that feeling, but you don't get it all the time.
Yeah.
But when it comes, and it's exactly as you describe, there is no better feeling. So then all of my actions go through this filter of, what would my daughter think now if she saw me doing this?
She'd like it.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's for me. That's the gold standard.
Yeah.
Would my
Yeah.
daughter write about this in a positive way? Or would she think, oh no, that's not how my dad acts?
Yeah. What's she doing?
But she sees it all. She sees.
Yeah, of course.
So they get the whole package.
Yeah, but it's what you do constantly. It's what someone does consistently. If you're consistently good, the occasional bad thing you can let off. You can brush off and go, they've had a moment there.
It's called being human.
It is. I've had moments in my life where I've really, really questioned what the point is. What's my purpose?
Do you feel like you've found your purpose now?
Yeah, hell yeah, 100%.
Do you think it will change or grow?
Yeah, I'm aware that I will transition at some point. Purpose has to be built through quite a few things. For one, what's naturally sparking you, right? My uncle, right, he always used to say to me when I was growing up, he said, Charlie, what's your spark?
Glad you said that about growing up.
Yeah.
Because for me, the things that I get the most enjoyment out of life now are the things that I forgot that I'd enjoyed as a kid.
But that's who you are.
Music.
That's what you are. That's what you are.
You never change. As in, those feelings you have as a kid are the things you love doing the most. Playfully, without the fear of anyone caring if you get it wrong. That's who you are.
We used to laugh at him, right? He used to go, he was from Liverpool. He goes, Charlie, what's your spark? What's your spark? And I'd go, what do you mean? What's your spark? I don't know what you mean. As a kid, I was like, and he said it every time I saw him, 3 times a year. He goes, have you found your spark yet?
Have you remembered?
I use that with my clients now. I say to him, have you found your spark? What that does is it's building a purpose. What is your purpose? We are so cluttered with absolute nonsense that is affecting our well-being, isn't there?
Yeah.
So much nonsense. So, right, declutter that, right? Where's the spark now? Yeah. What do you love? What do you love doing? Where do you want to go? Where are we gonna? Who are you gonna be? Who are you gonna be with? You know, what rooms do you want to live in? You know, what environments do you want to be surrounded by? Yeah. What's truly you? If you love reading books, and you've not read a book for years, there's a problem. Start reading books. Yeah. Well, I do this I've got to do that. Okay, well, let's separate that time. Start reading books again. I'll tell you about an interaction I had with. So I go into schools, and I teach my mindset program with sixth formers, and I go into football clubs, professional sports clubs. I'm currently working with a men's mental health charity, which we'll get onto in a minute if you want to.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had this interaction with a lad, and essentially I always start off my program on mental clarity. So we build. So essentially, it takes about 20 minutes to do this, but I need honesty, and I need you to be really like we could do it now if you wanted. We could. I asked them 5 years ago. Yeah. So no matter what age you are, 5 years ago, what sparked you?
What we're going to do here, rather than you coming to me,
go on.
You're going to ask the questions.
Yeah, go on.
You're going to pause.
Yeah.
You're going to take a deep breath in.
Yeah.
And you're going to answer your own question.
Okay. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
So my first question is, 5 years ago, what sparked you?
Close your eyes. Deep breath in. Okay.
I wanted to help. Yeah. And then ask the question, what sparks you now? The fact that I'm helping. I wanted to help. I'm now helping.
I do apologise because I'd love to say this is the first time that my kit has caused problems, but the phone battery got too hot, so it dropped out But luckily, because we're monitoring from the laptop, we can carry on.
Yeah, it's just not moving, that's all. All right, are we good? Yeah. Do a sound check again. Yeah.
That'd be fine.
Should work. All right.
So,
Okay.
we're back. A little technical issue, which wasn't a bad thing because it's allowed me to open the door. So we've got a bit of fresh air coming in. Where were we?
We were talking about how we find the spark.
Yeah.
How I get the spark back into people. And it goes back to, I think it links back to your baseline. I think it links back to the amount of people that lose the spark because of other people's external pressures, which then turn into internal pressures, don't they?
I think you're right. And I think a baseline without a spark or purpose
doesn't exist.
Is like a couple of millimeters above the floor.
Doesn't exist.
There is no happiness there.
It's pointless, lifeless.
That's where I'm feeling now, is that the baseline I've created, and there's a caveat to it, is it's increasing all the time. But what happens is when you become depleted, or you fall off, or you have a dip, or something gets in the way, and you feel like you're crashing back down again into the abyss, you feel like there's so much more to lose, which then can create for me personally this other emotion of huge frustration.
Right.
Because like, look how well I was doing, look how much purpose I had. Now, because things aren't going as well as they were, I'm down here again.
Right. Do you think, as long as you know what your purpose is, no matter what you go through, and I think that's what resilience is, isn't it?
It's knowing.
It's if as long as you hold on, you need to build the foundation and the spark, and find the spark, build the foundation, and go. As long as that's in my life, I can almost be hit with anything here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I try and teach and educate, especially our future, our younger generation. It's all well and good. You're a dad, you're a parent, so you're in a position where you every second of your life you've got to be a great role model and a teacher and an educator. For me, looking at the younger generation, I'm there to guide them through that. So take a 16-year-old, 17-year-old who's at school in sixth form. They are living vicariously through a life which isn't theirs. School exam pressure, external pressures, fashion pressures, social media pressures. They are lost in a world in which they're like, okay, well, I probably feel like I probably should be that. But this is where finding the spark is really important for younger generation and adults. And that's why I'm asking you now. If the spark is constantly lit, no matter how dim or how bright, can you face anything?
100%. And you have to, because the alternative is to give up or to make an excuse.
So whilst that spark I think people are really struggling.
I agree. And I think there was another layer I wanted to add into your mix as well. And that's people feeling like they're waiting for that permission. Once given them permission to be themselves.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
Because of all the societal pressures to get to that point where they've lost who they are, but even if they remember who they are, they're still waiting for that moment of permission.
I was told by my mentor a few years ago, my biggest thing that I need to work on was permission and action.
Yeah, I feel it.
I was constantly waiting for someone to tell me that it's a good idea, or or I was waiting for the right time.
Here's a question.
Go on.
So in those times, an idea would come to you. You knew it was a great idea. Did you phone someone else to say, I've got this idea, knowing that the answer, whether you were going to do the idea or not, relied on that person agreeing with you it was a good idea?
Yeah.
That's what I did.
There's definitely a few people I'd ring and ask them if it was good and should I do it. And if I look back now, I'm trying to think why I did that. And I think it goes back to me. Is it responsibility? Is it saying I'm taking the weight of this no matter what?
You don't want it to be all your fault if it goes wrong.
And I also probably, do you know what I wanted? If you think back to when I was a child, what did I want?
Yeah.
What,
A role model.
What did I want? I wanted support.
You wanted
I wanted belief.
somebody else to be aware of what you were doing,
Mm.
so they can give you that encouragement and that,
Yeah.
we believe in you. We believe in you. That's a great idea.
And
Go and do that, Charlie, because we believe in you. And then they're in the wings watching, and you look for that little not pat on the back, for someone to have your back, support what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what it all came down to for me, was I didn't take action because I was waiting for permission. And basically Chris said, you need to, he knew through my background and through my major role models in life that it didn't take a lot for me to understand it. I just needed to be told, literally just a sentence going, stop waiting for permission. And I did. And because of that, I've now spent 5-6 years coaching. And I've loved every single second of it. Absolutely every single second. Because,
you can tell.
Yeah,
you can definitely tell.
Yeah.
There were so many people at that event that came over from your gym, and the atmosphere was unbelievable.
Yeah,
proper little community of good people. Enjoyed it.
And it's funny that I think that's what those people needed, and it's what they do need. Those people probably weren't like that before.
No, you could see there were certain people
by...
there that maybe hadn't done the cold
exposure
before. And especially, I think when we did it, it wasn't a particularly warm day.
Oh no, it was a storm.
It was a storm.
It was the week of that storm. What was the storm called?
Dara.
Yeah, and do you remember what did me and the boys do first?
Straight in the cold.
No,
went for a run.
We went for a 15k run first at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning in Brixton, up hills.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. But again, I thrive off those moments. If I get in the group chat, if it pops up saying, 6 a.m. big run, come on, let's do it. What else are we supposed to do? Oh, I'm going to lie in bed at 6 a.m. Why? What am I doing in bed? Like, again, I've built this thing into my life where I know I get one life. And some people might say, oh, well done, what's the 6 a.m. run doing? Well, it's something.
Yeah.
And it's keeping me going.
So when you're out in the storm, at 6 a.m. running, there aren't too many people out there doing that, are there?
A lad drove by, beeped his horn, and he was like, love it, And it was 4 of us, and we were running this storm up the hills of Brixham, all around. And you talk about that dopamine hit and that feeling of togetherness, all brought because of a shared feeling of, well, we know what this does, we know what this builds, and afterwards, it's camaraderie. You've built a stronger bond. It's like fibrous tissue. It's just this unbreakable thing.
Yeah. Where
you're willing to then go further next time, and you're willing to go, I know I'm capable. And that leads back to what essentially Elite Mind Club is and what I want it to be, which is a community and a club. Now, some people might view a club as quite exclusive, and there's a barrier to get in. And I want to tell people that it's not. I want to tell people that once you're in there, it's just this. I want to create a world and a universe in which we're striving for better. But I can find I want a world where you could create a roulette of names. Yeah. Say there's 200 people on a chat, and you could roulette it, and you could just private message that person and just go, fancy a walk? Let's go.
Yeah.
I want a world in where it's no matter who you're connected to, we're looking to be together, and it's all about positive affirmations and feelings that, unfortunately, I think this is what I had to deal with in my mid-20s. I was surrounded by people that weren't like that, and I didn't like it one bit. And I wanted to build this club.
But that, to me, is to know that through that short period of time.
Mm.
So now you're 32.
Yeah. 32,
Well, that's 11 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And you're saying you've got that same intention.
Mm.
So for me, it's clear in another 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
you're probably still going to have
Cool.
a fairly respectful head of hair. But no, on a serious note, it's like this only magnifies and gets stronger. Not only the feelings you have, but the way in which you're able to pull things together, bring people together. It multiplies. We know that the positive energy, when it's in coherence as a group and a community in this local area or any area where you bring people together with a common intention to bring each other up,
100%.
it multiplies, it amplifies. It's so much more powerful than any amount of people in a low energy. So anyone that is against that as an intention, you've got to ask yourself why. Why would you not support that or want to be part of that? Because it can only be a positive thing for the local community.
I look at those people that aren't in that position yet, and I promise you, say to myself, I go, give me 5 minutes. I almost want to grab them and say, just give me 5 minutes. Just let me change your mindset around who you are and what life is. Because right now, the way you're living and portraying your life, it's reflecting badly onto others. And it's not a good world that they're living in.
The trouble is, what I find is that the people that need to hear that the most, they've got such a force field around them that information isn't getting in. It's got to be received at the right time. It makes sense that all the answers that we hold individually are all within ourselves. So to be a guide and a mentor and a coach, for me, as I move towards that myself now, with the opportunities I was talking about earlier, it's very clear to me that the way I want to coach people and the way I want to use my lived experience and my understanding of the different ways in which we can prevent ourselves from moving forward positively means that there'll be no judgment from me when someone is given that resistance. And that it's a case of letting things absorb and just rise to the surface themselves when they're ready to receive it, listen to it, take action themselves. For me, as long as there's reflection, that's all I will be asking people initially, is find time yourself to reflect, find those moments. Because I had a podcast with someone the other day, and it was clear there's so much positive things happening for that person.
Yeah.
But I asked her the question about how much time do you spend on your own out in nature?
Right.
And it was zero.
Right. Okay.
So I know myself that
what it does for
just
you,
bringing that little bit of time for me.
Yeah.
And it's sharpening the sword, sharpening the axe.
Yeah.
It's such an important part of what I do now. We were talking earlier about the days where you're not on 100%. And you're not able to really get out there and do that purposeful stuff. I just treat them as rebuild days.
Yeah.
You can't have a day every day where it's, I'm going to go and attack the purpose. Right. Today it's all about back in the trenches. Yeah. Let's just get this water and start tipping it back out.
I'm still trying to work out why. I think we've built this thing where we think every day, every meal has to be a movie or has to be a 5-star dining experience. I don't know about you, but I do that. I think every meal, and at the end of the day, expectation levels of how many good days in a row are we going to have? How are we? Like, a couple of good days in a row, and then what? Nice Monday. But that's fine. That's absolutely fine to have mundane, normal. Like, life is long. Days are long. So when we're in that position to go, you need to become so selfish at first to rebuild.
Yeah.
Not even rebuild, to build and create. Because some people have never even built it.
No.
Some people have never even created their life. They don't even know what it means. They're following someone else's footsteps. They're following someone's rules.
Well, for me, it's when I thought about what creation is and what the opposite of creation. Very similar words, but you either create or react.
Yeah. And I think that is what I want to do. It's not I know I want to do that. I'm not here to, and again, it's something I always say in my first meeting with someone. I say, I'm not here to fix you because you're not broken.
No.
I'm here to build and create. And they go, okay, that makes sense. Because a lot of us think we need fixing. a lot of us sit here today, they might be listening to this now going, I need to constantly fix that. If you're just fixing or just, trying to set, at what point is something being created? No.
It's like,
rather than dealing with that.
cut your finger.
Yeah.
Your body is going to heal itself.
Yeah.
Would you sit there and stare at your thumb for 5 days waiting to see if that scab heals over?
No.
Or would you just accept my body's going to do what it needs to do?
Yeah.
It's going to heal itself.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm going to live my life and not wait to see if the thing I have labelled as being broken.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch and I'm just going to think about that because my thumb's broken. We apply that to every element of our lives where I'm broken, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. I'm just living my life in the wrong way.
Honestly.
And I've been there myself. Yeah. To me, I was depressed or anxious for 15 years because I just didn't know what life could be like.
You were suffocating yourself, weren't you?
But I'm grateful that I'm here now with the knowledge and awareness I have. And it's funny because some people still now give me the advice, make sure you don't get too carried away with what you're doing. Make sure you don't just think about what you're doing and getting sucked into it. Like to them, it's like I've gone too far with it maybe, or that I obsess over becoming a better person, which to me, how can that even be possible?
But being obsessed by being better.
What else? We obsess about everything in our lives. I
don't think that exists. I think being obsessed with something that's good.
For everyone around me.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I want to be better.
Yeah. So why is it? This is where I really want to talk to you about this. How many people right now are sat at home or at their desk, at work, or in a job they hate, or with a partner they know they're not supposed to be with anymore, or something feels completely wrong? What are they missing? And when did that thing never come? So
it's just hard, mate. It's hard. People would have seen the changes I made, and it's not easy. The hardest thing I've ever done, but it's the best thing I've ever done. It's as simple as that. It's not easy. The only way it works is because you don't just get to the other side and then you're sorted. It means constantly being happy that you don't know what tomorrow looks like, and that you haven't quite worked out that thing there is going to work out, and that's going to bring some money back in, or that risk over there is going to pay off.
Yeah.
None of that stuff is worked out. So it comes down to who are you? And if you're happy with that, all the rest will just work itself out.
I think that comes then back to, if your daily routine, take fitness, take health, take mental fitness, emotional fitness, all these things that I'm looking to help build people with. So your emotional fitness, mental fitness, physical fitness.
Yeah.
The act of being selfish in those moments, what it's then creating is a human. Because when I look at you, I do this with everyone. If I look at Olly, I see Olly. Yeah. If someone says to me, if I leave this room now and I go back home, and someone says to me, "How was Olly?" I picture you clearly, right? But right now, I see brown eyes, see a nice skull. I see a person that's in shape. But the name Olly is just been attached to you. Mm-hmm. If I play a little game, I play this game with people who are within sport. I call it remove the scoreboard. Yeah. How do you play? Remove the scoreboard. Yeah. How do you play? Where's the pressure gone? They go, well, the pressure's gone. So how do you play? And they go, well, I play with freedom. Yeah.
This is so aligned with what I listened to the other day.
Yeah. So I now ask you, the human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remove the name Olly. You look at me now. Yeah. Remove the name Charlie. What do you see? What do you feel?
I feel the energy from within, but I already did anyway, even with the name Charlie attached to it, because to me that's a new way of thinking, which I like, and it works. But because I feel I am good at knowing whether or not someone is turning up as Charlie or as someone that Charlie feels Olly wants to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes back to the amount of times daily that we define our name and attach our name to what we do and who we are. And the idea that removing the scoreboard, removing the pressure creates freedom. Yeah. So take someone who has, take someone who's overweight again. All right. Take someone who might not have a lot of money. Take someone who's just constantly on the breadline. Yeah. Who's constantly, surviving. They just label themselves as a survivor, or they will Charlie is a survivor of financial difficulties. Charlie is just, all I am is an overweight person. Okay, let's remove the name. Yeah, let's see who the person is really. So what are they? Well, that person who's overweight could be a dad. They could be the most supportive dad out there. That's way more important.
Yeah.
Take someone who's struggling with finances. Yeah. I'm a broke person. No, you're not. Because I'm pretty sure I saw you give £5 to a homeless man. Ah, so you're not broke. Yeah. We attach these beliefs which create limiting beliefs. I will always remain overweight. I will always remain broke. I will always remain single. I will always remain detached from relationships. I will always remain, friendless. I am this person who has nothing. I will always have nothing because that is who Charlie is. No, it's what you believe you are. It's just some numbers and it's just a feeling. What is the other feeling that is beyond that? Who is the greatest version of you? What is it? For you, if I look at you, Olly, you're like, how can you be a better dad? What would it take? It wouldn't, nothing. I'll tell you now, the answer is nothing. What does it take to be a better, are you married? What takes you to be a better husband? What does it take? And does it take an extra date night a week? Does that really make you better? Yes or no? Does being a businessman, what is being a better businessman? Is it waking up every day just doing one good thing? Like what is it? What's it going to take?
Finances away from it. I've already created everything I want to be doing in a day. So whether I had
you've got the
a
life.
couple of £1 million sat there, what else would I do differently?
That's great.
I still spend a day speaking to and interacting with the same people?
Of course you would.
Doing the same thing.
You would.
Because I realised that actually all I need is the ocean, some nice scenery, a country walk, some good food. It's all there.
And that proves you've got everything. If that's all you need, you could be anywhere in the world. Pick one person to be with to be there. You could throw me anywhere. Put me with that one person that I want to be with. Put me with myself. Yeah? How do I feel? Put yourself in every single possible situation. Yeah? How do you react? How do you feel? These people that run away, from a geographical spot because it might not be, good for them. Yeah? You can run as far away as you want.
Here's a reflection. A really good way for me to measure how happy I am. Am I singing when I'm in the car on my own?
Oh, yeah, nice.
Because it's something I always used to do.
Yeah.
Nice. And even rapping, freestyle rapping.
Rapping.
Yeah, I love like a bit of a freestyle. But I remember a fair few years where that didn't happen.
Oh, mate, sad. Yeah,
yeah,
it's tough. Really
Whereas
tough.
now it's there, which might not be a good thing for the daughters when they're in the car with me.
Rapping. That's beautiful, mate. They'll remember that forever. They'll remember that forever, mate.
Yes, those little things, little moments.
Gratitude, mate. Being grateful. It's so important. And again, go back to the game I play 5 years ago. Now, what is it you want? Yeah. It just me doing it myself, and I hope the cameras have still got it. It gave me a little buzz, actually. I just coached myself. You told me to coach myself, and it gave me this buzz. And all it did was it brought me back to me feeling extremely grateful for what I'm doing and what I've created, because I wanted to help.
So
I'm now helping.
Let's further that then.
Yeah.
So the style of coaching that I'm moving into is very much embodying the person that you are going to become. So if you think about the person that you hope to become and that you trust you are becoming, because hope is a poor man's dream. So we're not hoping, we're trusting.
We're doing.
You trust in yourself. So imagine being that person 10 years from now, the person that you know you're becoming and that you wholeheartedly believe you are capable of becoming. Like, you take away any of that doubt. You know that person. You know what he's doing. You even know what he's wearing, where he is, who he's surrounded with.
I got it.
You got it? Is there anything that Charlie today does that isn't in line with that person?
Wow. Always learning, mate. Always. Always chipping away at the things that aren't aligned with that. Always.
Is there ever a point where the constant desire and striving to learn more means that sometimes you can miss the opportunities to solidify and reflect on what you already know and have learned already?
It's not. I'm not doing something in my life right now which is tampering or is going to affect what I see in 10 years. Yeah. But what I do have are, I sometimes think, have I gone too far? So sometimes I think to myself, why can't I be angry? Sometimes I think I'm too peaceful. Sometimes I feel like I don't want the altercation.
So if we look at the film Inside Out, the kids' film, that film for me is life, because each emotion has its turn at like taking the forefront and controlling the person. And it's all nice and leveled out and everyone's having their go. But then anger takes control.
Right.
Happiness gets lost.
Yeah.
And happiness is lost for a long time because anger has taken so much control that happiness doesn't even remember how it feels to have a go at controlling the person. It's only when they learn to work together that it really works. So it's interesting you're saying that, because I still have moments where I'm up and down.
Right.
Which to me, I actually feel is quite healthy.
But with what emotion? What's the down? Sadness or anger?
I wouldn't even say up or down. I'd say, yeah, I have moments where, because of external things that are going on in my life, there are moments of frustration and despair and shame and guilt and anger.
Right.
But for me, that's healthy, because I know a body that hurts is a body that works, and it's the same with the emotions. For me, that has been the biggest breakthrough I had, is I now have mechanisms like the cold plunge, the sauna, the runs, where if there's something there to come out, whether it's emotion, anger, it's coming out. But what happens the other side is peace again, but proper peace, where I know I've cleared it and I've not held on to something because of the fear of letting it come in. So for you to say you don't often feel these other emotions like anger,
I do.
It's either that because they're not there, or it's because there's a fear of letting them come in once and then changing how you operate as yourself. Or
I think, I sometimes look around and I think, if I just let go of this emotion, don't get me wrong, I'm a ginger. I've got red hair, fire in me, like big time. I can literally feel it. I can feel it. I don't show it. I don't know what that means. Does it mean that I'm really good at... It's definitely not a front. I know for a fact I'm not fronting that.
no,
It's not a front. I think contentment and peace is so powerful in me. I truly, I think
that's a power.
I think it's so. I think it is just rock solid. I think contentment and peace in life is just, it's almost just on top of the hill.
Yeah.
And it's just got bow and arrow and any hot. Why do I want to be angry? Really, like, I sometimes ask myself, what would anger get me? Like, honestly, I true. But this is where I sometimes create these little stories where I'm like, well, if something wild happened, I've built up this thing where I can unleash it, not in a strange way, but I don't want to be sad. Sad what does it really offer me unless I get sad at a film? You know, I can get sad at a film.
Oh yeah.
I get sad at films all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not real. I know it's fleeting. I know it disappears. But my life, I've had too many external factors try and get me down. And I didn't like the person it created. So why would I let it happen again?
Makes sense.
Why would I want another? Why would I want that feeling? I didn't like it. So I just made sure peace and contentment was number one. And I'm so close to it. So close to ultimate. I am not far away. Honestly, I really mean it. So close to that feeling of not every human interaction I have is perfect. Sometimes I wish it was. I actually think sometimes I try to make sure every interaction's too good. One thing I get told is that I don't clock off. Like I'm constantly on this. No matter what interaction I'm at, I want you to go. I want you to leave feeling like there's that was great, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe as I sit here and think about it now, is there a past thing of what's another word for? I don't want to use the word trauma because it's definitely not trauma. Past experiences, let's call it.
Everything shapes us.
Yeah, and I think that past experience of potentially feeling frustrated and anger doesn't get the best out of me. So I fight it off.
Yeah.
But for the right reasons, isn't it?
Sounds like you've got a hell of a grip on what works for you and what doesn't.
I think I'm close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really feel I'm close.
Switched on, lad.
I try my best.
I like it, mate. I like it a lot.
I try my best to be switched on.
I've taken some real points away from this myself.
Oh yeah, that's good, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's for me, that's why I do the podcast. It is to listen to people intently. Sometimes I listen too much where, oh yeah, come back in again now. Because I just love listening to different people's perspective and then take away the gold that I need, which would be different to someone else that might need to take a different message away.
Yeah.
And just throw it in the mix, because each time I have a conversation on the podcast, I grow as a person.
If you can leave life with a positive impact, you've done your job.
That's all it is.
Positive impact. And because we're here quick and we're gone quick.
Yeah.
We're here quick, gone quick. And in 100 years' time, our names will be somewhere in a bit of grass.
I don't like thinking about that.
No, but...
Because I'm 13, I'm 11 years...
Mate, you look
ahead of you.
Yeah, you look great. We could talk about how great each other. You can say how good. Yeah. But that is a bit of a strange way to think. But it goes back to zooming out and making sure that the conversation I have with you, and I am now going to attach your name, Olly, to the person that I see, because I feel that energy, and I feel the positive impact you make on people, and I can literally feel it, and I can see it, and I know you want to do it because I hear the way you talk, and I know you're doing it for all the right reasons, because the impact you will make and are making.
That's the one.
It's huge.
Already making. Both are. Let's talk about the Thursday night free event that you're now running.
Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So every Thursday morning until 7:30 a.m. is essentially a free men's mental fitness and exercise session. So Elite Mind Club, which is my club, my business, my mindset coaching business, partnered up with a men's mental health charity called Redefined. And essentially what it is for men in this country who potentially might be suffering, who might be lonely, who might not have a level of support they have. Male suicide under the age of 50 is number one killer of men. Almost 70 to 80% of suicides in this country are men. And if the number one killer is something which can be potentially declined with initiatives like this. So for every hour, every Thursday at 6:30 a.m. down at Abbey Park in Torquay, I put on a free mental fitness session. It's 30 minutes of exercise. It's mindset coaching and chat afterwards. It's coffee, it's community, it's togetherness. And the whole purpose of this is, as we grow older, as we go from sports teams to work, friendship groups, yeah, as men get older, that tends to disappear. You know, that weekend sports you meet up, or that pint down the pub with your mate, that disappears, yeah. And even though you might not say much in those meetings or those sports teams, what this is the chance for that to come back into your life. So for 1 hour a week, please come down. It's for all abilities. There's absolutely no restriction on how fit you are, you know, how old you are. You got to be 18 or over, but if you're 18 over, please come down. It's togetherness. It's community. It's a place where men feel like they can talk, and they can not be judged, and they're not having a space which is clouded by the idea that they might say the wrong thing. And it's all about, it's going to be run, so it's run by me. So the way I coach, I'm a personal trainer as well. So I train, I do the programs, play some volleyball, play some football, do some exercise, you know, squats, press ups, all these things, bit of shuttle runs, and then we have coffee and chat after. And that coffee and chat after is a chance for us to reflect on the men that are gone, the men that haven't got. If it just is one man that has having these thoughts, if they can just have something that is stopping them from having those thoughts, and all it is if it's that 1 hour, and that's why I'm doing it.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
And where I was going myself when you were talking there was that each and every man that turns up without knowing is fighting for themselves.
100%.
Because they're already there. Already there. They're already doing it. Whether or not they made the decision to get up and go and do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can surrender, back to that word surrender, to what you know you need for yourself in the future. So I commend any man that doesn't feel like they have the strength to fight for themselves, to still get up and go and do that.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That is the one, because what you're doing is you're taking the action. You're taking the power away from that little voice telling you that you're not good enough. You're doing it anyway. And as soon as you take that action, the momentum builds, and you get these other emotions that remind you of who you actually are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really powerful, mate. And the sole purpose of this being a free session is, no matter what, where you are in the world, you know, whether you're, you know, no matter what class you are, no matter, you know, if you've got family, kids, no matter who you are, it's open to everyone.
Well, one thing I wrote down on the page, I wrote down a few words just in case, and one of them was barrier to entry. You take away that price.
That's it.
Where's the barrier to entry?
There's none.
Get in there, walk.
Yeah. Share a lift. Yeah. Create community.
Yeah, and I guarantee that within that community, there'll be someone there that comes from Paynton, Brixham, Teignmouth.
Yeah.
They're coming through. Yeah.
Barriers in this world don't exist. They do not exist. And that's why men's mental health, for one, I'm a man. So, and I've been through some stuff, but I'm here for the main cause, which is human life being better, and human community, and human is precious. Humans are precious, and we get one body, we get one mind. So let's make the most of it. Yeah. Let's make the most of it, because you know,
it's the ripple effect as well, because somebody that comes to your class in the future, when they're sorted, when they're the other side of the darkness, and are back on their feet and they're thriving, they'll do something similar themselves, because they'll have that feeling inside 100%. Them where they'll know, I remember when Charlie did that for me, I want to do that now for somebody else that's back where I was in the darkness.
100%.
That's the ripple effect. That's why I'm here now doing this with you.
Yeah.
It's no better
powerful.
Feeling. I love it, mate. I love it. So well done, mate. It's the best work.
Thank you, mate.
It is the best work.
No, it's been an honour to chat to you, mate.
I've enjoyed it.
No, I've really enjoyed it. You're really, really easy to talk to, and don't forget, you already are who you are, and you're doing what you're doing because your purpose is being delivered.
Thanks,
and
man.
I don't need to see any more from you to prove who you are.
It's hard to hear, because in my head, what's got me to where I am now is that constant push and that constant doubt in my head that, and a lot of it is around, what will they think of me? I've always had that. What will they think of me? Who's they?
Who is they?
And
It's not they, it's you.
Why would they care?
It's you.
Why would they even care what you're doing? And it's, we create these narratives in our head.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, the biggest progress I've made is that I've really quietened all of that pointless self-talk. And all that leaves is the important stuff.
Takes effort though, doesn't it?
All the effort.
Takes effort. Yeah. And that's what people need to understand as well. It takes a bit of time. You know, good things come to those who wait.
I love that. And it really falls in line with something that has happened for me recently. And it's the opportunity that I've wanted so much, but I knew to get it, I had to be patient.
Yeah.
And I knew, because it's something I told myself at the start, and I've had to keep reminding myself, if I want patience as a virtue, then I have to be happy and waiting for what I want.
And don't also forget your many other things through all that as well. You know, your many other things. You're not
this
just
too
that.
shall pass. Even the stuff you think is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
It might not be.
Yeah.
So just come back to now. Always come back to now.
Be at peace and content. Have contentment, because once that's built into you, everything's. I
feel like that's where
everything feels nothing.
We've really aligned that the energy is that of so much contentment with where we are. We're sat in a room recording a podcast.
Yes.
Got nothing else on our minds, because we're just happy. We both know we're making a difference to other people's lives, and we both know the person we're both capable of becoming, and that we will become.
Yeah, and I hope that any or male watching this, it just gives them just one little spark. Goes back to that spark. Just one thing which helps them on their way, gets them to bed tonight going, do you know what? Let's do it. Why? What am I wasting time on that? Precious time. And if you're listening, we can do it. You can do it. And it's really important that you have people with you along the way. And that's
Find your people.
Yeah, 100%.
Believe in them.
Yeah.
Believe in you.
I'm going to ask anyone that's listening now, I want them to spend the next 24 hours. I want them to analyse every room that they're in. And I don't mean their bedrooms and their living rooms. I mean, every time they step outside, office, shop, if you don't like the things and the people you're surrounded by, change it. Find the places which make you you. Yeah.
Mate, job done. Smashed it.
I could keep talking all day.
Enjoyed it, mate.
Cheers, brother.
No, thanks for all you're doing, mate. Appreciate it.
No, that was really good.
Let's do this.
Really, honestly, mate. Really, really good.